Hi, this is Kandia Haynesworth with the Embroidery Report Card. Thank you so much for joining in today on Embroidery Report Card Explanation. Today we are going to talk about what it means to have an embroidery report card, the importance of its existence, and what exactly is an embroidery report card. If you were selected to be the subject of an embroidery report card and YouTube video, congratulations! This means your business have generated income from my purchase, and I'd like to share my experience with my fellow embroidery business owners and embroidery enthusiasts. First, let's talk about what is an embroidery report card. An embroidery report card are grades publicly submitted by the embroidery business owner or embroidery hobbyist based on the experience with the embroidery design company, use of file, and overall results. Report cards are configured on an individual embroidery file basis. Think back to grade school report cards. One could tell what kind of student a child was based on the grades earned and comments submitted by the teacher. Although embroidery report cards differ substantially, the concept is very similar. Potential embroidery design buyers viewing my embroidery report cards will get an idea of my experience with embroidery designing companies, my opinion, and potential issues or results of my transaction. I must point out potential customers of these embroidery websites or companies subject of these embroidery report cards should consider these are my evaluations and does not reflect anyone else, any group I may host, or any group that I may be a member of. I am an honest, fair, and reasonable person, but I must admit the scrutiny these embroidery files go under are based on all of these considerations you see here. When I purchase an embroidery design and upload it to my computer, I am looking at the embroidery process, the stitch out results, how long it takes to stitch out the jump stitches. I'm looking at the ease of locating the files. All of these things on top of how it looks overall and what the customer thinks. So this is not an easy process, and I'll explain to you how we arrive or how I arrive at the grade that these embroidery design companies are given. Let's take a look at these cards. One card is blank and one card is filled. We're going to go through the process of the explanation of the card first, and then we'll talk about what I am thinking about when I am giving a grade. The areas of the embroidery report card are very important. The areas located on the embroidery report card gives pertinent information for embroidery files to be properly evaluated. A completed card can be a bit overwhelming, so I thought it was a good idea to show you a blank card first, explain the areas, and then move on to a completed card. When you are viewing an embroidery report card, the first thing you want to pay close attention to is the month and year the embroidery design was tested. This is because we want to be fair. We want to give the embroidery designer the opportunity to fix the flaw, if there's any, that I am pointing out. So for example, if there's an embroidery design that was dated July of 2015 and now it's November of 2017, it is fair to believe that the embroidery designer would have at least updated the file and changed or corrected the flaw that I would have pointed out. So paying close attention to the month and the year that the design was tested is really important. These embroidery report cards are going to be evaluated mostly by me. I am looking for other embroidery business owners who are willing to be fair and give fair evaluations. We're not talking about if you like the person or not, if you know the person or not. We are just talking about fair evaluations based on that particular transaction. And so if you are an embroidery business owner and you would like to be up for consideration to become an evaluator based on my embroidery report cards, outline or template, then contact me. You can always send me an email to Kandia@kandiahainesworth.com or inbox me on Facebook. Now let's talk about embroidery design cost. When you are purchasing an embroidery design, if you are getting a discount, it makes the deal even sweeter. Even if there are flaws pointing out, a lot of the times you're not really so bothered if it didn't really cost you that much anyways. And if you get an embroidery design that you've only paid, let's say 99 cents for, and it stitches out beautifully, it makes it wonderful. It makes a wonderful deal, number one, because you paid close to nothing for it and you got so much more. So the embroidery design cost is very important. Okay, so let's talk about the grades and how they come about. First, the grades are based on the following areas. Okay, I am looking for the ease of locating designs in the files, access to uploading embroidery designs, embroidery process, stitch out results, embroidery labor time, my client's opinion, or my opinion. Okay, so sometimes this is a combination of two, because sometimes the client can absolutely love the blanket or whatever I've stitched out, but I know that I really don't like that design. So this can be a combination of two. And then in this column you will see the grade itself. So you'll see A, B, C, D, you know, that kind of thing. And then here you'll see the comments, and this is very important because this is going to give you more detail to help you understand the reasons for the grades. So if you saw that something was absolutely beautiful but they got a C or they got a B and they didn't get an A, this is going to tell you why, because I'm going to put little notes here to help you understand what my thought process was, or to help you understand what my experience was. And down here is going to be the final grade and the final comments. Okay, so you'll see, let's say, a big bold A or a big bold B. It's going to be smaller sizes than the grades that were given in this. Okay, so the final grade is going to be whatever the average is based on all of the grades added together, and then what my final thoughts were all together. And then here you're going to see the grade and scale for. This is going to have the name of the design. This is very important because if you remember, these embroidery report cards are based on each design. It's not the company itself. So although you may see, let's say, Stitchtopia here and then Stitchtopia.com here, what design are we talking about? Because Stitchtopia may have hundreds of designs and not all of them would be worthy of such a grade, whether it's a high grade or a low grade. We want to be fair, and so I am evaluating all of the embroidery designs on an individual basis, and the name of that embroidery design would be located here. And then down below is the explanation for the grade. Direct your attention to the bottom of the card under the grade and scale. You'll see that I give grades from A to D. Needless to say that if you get an A, your embroidery design was excellent. I feel very good about this purchase. Overall, the quality of it, the price of it, the ease of locating designs, the embroidery process, the stitch out results, my client was happy, I was happy. All of those factors will earn you a final grade of A+. Now, if I give you a B, it's not a bad grade. Okay, I know I recently gave an embroidery website a B, and I got a lot of backlash from some of her fans and her customers. And the reason being is because they like her. But the bottom line was no one could say, well, Kandia, what you were saying in your embroidery report card wasn't true, because it was true. So even if you like the person, it doesn't mean that they are a bad person because they got a B. It just means that they need to fix that flaw that I am pointing out. And so it doesn't even mean that the embroidery design stitched out horribly. It just means that somewhere along this process, it was a little glitch there that needs to be addressed and fixed. And if you don't fix it, then I'm going to give you a B. So B's aren't always bad. You know, I don't want people to think that B's are bad. It just means that there was a little area that needs to be fixed. Now a C means that this was something huge that needed improved, and you need to fix it like ASAP. Like if you have poor customer service. Poor customer service, I mean, is I send you an email on January 1st, then on the 15th, and you don't get back to me until February 19th. That's a long time. That's a long time, and that's going to earn you a need improvement. Now, you would think that I would say, well, Kandia, that's a long time they get a D or an F. Well, once again, no one gets an F, and the reason why I would give them a C based on that, because they at least got back to me, even if it wasn't in, a an appropriate time frame. They at least got back to me. You will get a D if you don't even acknowledge me at all, because that means that I've sent you numerous emails, I've given you my money for a purchase, and I have a problem, and you didn't even acknowledge me. That, number one, is rude. And if you are that busy, then you need to hire someone to answer your emails, set out some time to answer your emails. And when you don't do that, and I see you on Facebook or YouTube uploading videos, that means that you are blatantly disregarding your inbox messages or your other box messages, your emails. But in the meantime, you are still taking people's money. You get a D for that. Because at this point, I'm kind of done with you. I don't want to buy from your website again, and I'm not going to recommend to my fellow embroidery boss members in my group, my fellow embroidery business owners that I know, to your website. Don't even care if I love your designs or not. I'm not going to recommend you. And so and so that's what would be a reason to get a D. Those are the reasons that you would get to get a C or a B or an A. So just keep in mind that when you are viewing these embroidery report cards, please read my comments, okay? Because my comments mostly will tell you what my thoughts are, what happened. It will give you an idea of what happened. And, here's what the truth is. If it could happen to me, it could happen to you. You understand? So if I'm having an excellent time with let's say 8clawsinapod.com and they are wonderful, then maybe you could have a wonderful time with them too. But if I've sent them 5 emails and they didn't respond to me, then you should know that, you know what, there's a chance, not necessarily that it means it might happen, but there's a chance that it could happen because they already have a history of this. So this is what this is for. So now let's take a look at an actual embroidery report card, and let me talk about my experience. And as always, you can always click the links below if you want to watch the actual video, but I want to just take, the time to explain my thought process on how I reach, the final grade overall. So you can see in the future, if you should view any of my embroidery report cards, exactly where I was coming from. Let's take a look.